Last night, January 19th into January 20th, 2026, Russia thought it could strike Ukraine with impunity, sending a massive aerial assault unlike anything seen in years. Hundreds of drones, cruise missiles, and ballistic missiles surged toward Ukraine's cities, designed to cripple energy infrastructure and terrorize civilians. But what happened next shocked the world. Ukraine's defenses didn't just hold. They obliterated 342 out of 373 incoming projectiles, including 14 of 18 deadly ballistic missiles and 13 of 15 cruise missiles. Russia's plan was humiliated. Tonight, we reveal how Ukraine turned the tables, stopped a potential catastrophe, and reshaped the balance of power in the skies. The night of January 19th into January 20th, 2026, started like many others for Ukraine, but it would end unlike any night in recent memory. Russian forces launched what was intended to be a devastating aerial bombardment, striking at the heart of Ukraine's energy and power infrastructure. Hundreds of drones, cruise missiles, and ballistic missiles were in the air, aimed at crippling cities and leaving millions without heat, water, or electricity in the middle of winter. But what Russia expected did not happen. According to reports from the Kyiv Post, the scale of the assault was staggering. 373 attack weapons were launched across Ukrainian airspace, including 339 Shahid-type drones, 15 cruise missiles, and 18 ballistic missiles, possibly Iskander-M or Iskander S-300s. The Shahid drones had been a recurring threat for years, swarming in large numbers and overwhelming conventional air defenses. The cruise missiles, mostly low-flying Kh-101s, were expected to penetrate Ukraine's radar coverage and wreak havoc. And then there was a single Zircon anti-ship missile, striking oddly out of place, hinting perhaps at Russia's dwindling missile stocks, or a desperate test of capability. This wasn't just another wave of missiles. It was meant to be a statement of power. A concentrated strike on Ukraine's heating systems and power grids. Time to inflict maximum winter hardship on civilians. Kyiv, Odessa, Kharkiv, Zaporizhia, Poltava, and Rivne were all potential targets. If the missiles hit, hundreds of thousands would be plunged into darkness. But Ukraine's air defense systems had quietly leveled up, and Russia's carefully planned operation was about to meet an unexpected wall. The Shahid drones formed the backbone of the attack. Their numbers alone, 339 launched in a single night, could have overwhelmed older air defense setups. Normally, Ukraine would have struggled to intercept them all. But this night was different. Ukraine's military reported engaging each incoming threat across 6 hours of continuous battle in the sky, from the first strike just after midnight to the final intercept in the early hours of January 20th. The result? 342 of the 373 projectiles were destroyed. Think about that. 342 weapons neutralized before they could cause the widespread destruction Russia had planned. Of particular note were the ballistic missiles. 14 of 18 were intercepted, a 77% success rate, a number that would have seemed impossible just a week earlier. Previously, Ukraine struggled against these weapons. On the night of January 12th to 13th, for instance, Russia fired 18 ballistic missiles, yet Ukraine managed to destroy only 2, a meager 11% interception rate. What changed in the week between these strikes? The answer lies in new air defense deployments, combined with improved tactics that would reshape the war in the skies. The cruise missile intercepts were equally impressive. Out of 15 fired, Ukraine managed to shoot down 13, an 86% success rate. And the drones? 315 of 339 Shahids never reached their targets. The overwhelming majority of the incoming strike force was neutralized, leaving Russia's assault as little more than a symbolic barrage rather than a devastating blow. Russia's drones and missiles slammed into an invisible brick wall in the Ukrainian sky. This level of defense wasn't merely luck. Analysts suggest that the combination of long-range air defense systems, electronic warfare, and coordinated command strategies allowed Ukraine to prioritize threats efficiently. Ballistic missiles were tracked and destroyed using the most advanced interceptors, while drones and smaller projectiles were dealt with using short-range systems and mobile units. The coordination had clearly matured since the previous weeks. Ukraine wasn't just reacting, they were dictating the battle in real time. Casualty reports, while tragic, highlight the efficiency of this defense. The Kyiv Independent reported that 1 civilian in Kyiv was killed, 2 more in Dnipro were injured, and around 5,635 buildings were left without heating, roughly 46% of Kyiv's housing stock. These numbers are devastating, but compare them to the scale Russia had aimed for. Hundreds of thousands without heat, energy infrastructure crippled, mass chaos across the country. The difference? Ukraine's improved air defense and strategic preparation. This was not just an interception, it was a message. Russia had thrown its full arsenal into the sky, yet Ukraine's air defenses had turned the tide. For Putin and his generals, this night was a wake-up call. The days of easy aerial dominance were over. The skies over Kyiv, Kharkiv, and Odessa were no longer open fields for Russian missiles to roam freely. Ukraine had established a new layered air defense network that would challenge every subsequent attack. And there are questions that analysts are still asking. Was Russia running low on missiles? Was the Zircon anti-ship missile a mistake or a sign of desperation? Why did the overwhelming assault yield so little damage compared to the scale of the strike? While answers are still emerging, the night of January 19th to 20th has become a turning point. The tables have turned, and Ukraine has proven, beyond doubt, that it can defend its skies against even the most massive Russian onslaught. This night will be remembered not for the missiles that fell, but for the unprecedented defense that shattered expectations. The numbers, 342 intercepts out of 373, 14 of 18 ballistic missiles destroyed, are more than statistics. They are proof of a strategic evolution. Ukraine is no longer merely surviving Russian attacks. They're defeating them. And the story doesn't end here. In part 2, we'll dive into how Ukraine achieved this near-perfect defense, from new missile shipments to advanced tactics that Russia never saw coming. The game has changed, and the details behind this success are both fascinating and shocking. So how did Ukraine manage what seemed impossible just a week earlier? How did a nation under constant bombardment suddenly shoot down 342 of 373 incoming projectiles, including nearly all ballistic and cruise missiles? The answer lies in a combination of new air defense systems, tactical innovation, and strategic coordination that Russia simply didn't anticipate. The most obvious game-changer was the arrival of new missile systems, just in time for the assault on January 19th to 20th. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky confirmed that a shipment of desperately needed air defense missiles arrived the day before the strike. These were likely PAC-3 Patriot missiles, the same systems that have repeatedly proven capable of intercepting ballistic missiles in battle. With these in place, Ukraine's ability to engage high-speed, heavy-hitting threats like Iskander-MS became dramatically more effective. Ballistic missiles that previously terrorized cities were now vulnerable, and the numbers speak for themselves. 14 of 18 intercepted, 77% success rate, against weapons that can travel Mach 6 to Mach 7 with warheads weighing over 700 kilograms. But the Patriots weren't the only systems at play. Ukraine also deployed NASAMS and other short to intermediate range air defense assets, forming a multi-layered defense network. While long-range systems focused on ballistic and cruise missiles, NASAMS and mobile units handled drones and smaller projectiles, ensuring that no single layer of defense was overwhelmed. Add in interceptor drones, which have recently been integrated into Ukraine's air defense strategy, and you have a network that can track, target, and destroy hundreds of incoming threats simultaneously. The combination of mobile units, short-range drones, and long-range interceptors created a deadly web in the sky that Russia's missiles simply couldn't penetrate. Electronic warfare systems played a role as well. By disrupting guidance systems on incoming missiles and drones, Ukraine reduced the accuracy of Russia's attacks. Shahid drones, for example, were intercepted in huge numbers, 315 of 339 destroyed, without even reaching critical infrastructure. that freed up long-range systems like Patriots to concentrate on the more dangerous ballistic and cruise missiles. In essence, Ukraine's layered approach divided and conquered the threat, making each missile or drone easier to handle. The timing of this defensive capability was crucial. Part of what made this night a historic success was that the shipment of new missiles arrived just a day before Russia's massive strike. Every support package matters, and in this case, it made a tangible difference. Previously, Ukraine had 6 operational Patriot systems as of April 2025, covering roughly a third of the country's population centers. With the addition of 2 more systems from a $1.4 billion deal with Germany, coverage improved just enough to protect critical cities. These Patriots are not just effective. They are proven battlefield winners, capable of taking down Kinzhal, Zircon, and Iskander missiles. It wasn't just the hardware, it was how Ukraine used it. Commanders coordinated long-range and short-range systems in real time, prioritizing threats and ensuring that the most dangerous projectiles were destroyed first. Electronic warfare disrupted missile guidance, while interceptor drones neutralized swarming drones, and mobile short-range units prevented saturation of the long-range systems. In the middle of the night, Kyiv, Kharkiv, and other major cities essentially became fortresses in the sky, a testament to strategy, training, and precision. The results were extraordinary. Russia's massive assault, meant to terrorize and cripple, was neutralized with minimal civilian casualties. Only 1 person died in Kyiv, and 2 others were injured in Dnipro. The infrastructure damage, though significant in some areas, was far less than Russia had planned. Instead of a nationwide blackout, only 46% of Kyiv's buildings were temporarily without heat. Russia's missiles and drones, numbering in hundreds, met with an invisible wall of destruction that rendered the night's assault largely ineffective. And there's a broader implication here. Ukraine's ability to intercept ballistic missiles at this scale signals a paradigm shift in the balance of power. The days of unchecked Russian air superiority are over. The introduction of modern air defense systems, coupled with strategic use of interceptor drones and mobile short-range units, has allowed Ukraine to dictate the terms of engagement in the sky. Russia now faces a new reality. Their missile stockpiles, previously considered overwhelming, may no longer be sufficient to achieve their objectives. Some analysts even speculate that the odd deployment of a Zircon missile during the strike hints at supply issues or desperation in missile usage. Finally, Ukraine isn't stopping here. Zelensky's ongoing push for additional Patriot systems, he has publicly called for 25 in total, shows that the country is committed to expanding coverage and maintaining superiority. Every new system deployed strengthens Ukraine's ability to protect its civilians, limit damage, and challenge Russian dominance. With each intercepted missile, each destroyed drone, and each successful engagement, Ukraine sends a clear message to Moscow. Their aggression can be countered, and the skies will no longer be open territory for destruction. In short, the night of January 19th to 20th, 2026 wasn't just a defensive success. It was a demonstration of a transformed military strategy. Air defenses, long-range interceptors, mobile units, electronic warfare, and interceptor drones all worked in concert, achieving a level of coordination that was previously unseen. Russia's plan, massive in scale, ended in humiliation, and Ukraine's skies have become increasingly lethal for any aggressor attempting to strike. But what about the human cost? How did civilians fare during this massive strike? And what does this tell us about the psychological and strategic aspects of the war? That's exactly what we'll cover in Part 3, as we explore the impact on civilians, Russia's failures, and the resilience of Ukraine. While the numbers from the skies are astonishing, the real story is what happened on the ground. Civilian life in Ukraine has been under constant threat for nearly 4 years, and last night was no exception. Russia's strategy has long relied on psychological warfare, targeting energy infrastructure, cutting off heat, water, and electricity, aiming to weaken morale, especially during the bitter winter months. Elderly citizens, children, and those with limited mobility are the most vulnerable. But once again, Ukraine demonstrated remarkable resilience. Despite the intensity of the assault, casualties were limited. In Kyiv, only one person was killed, while in Dnipro, 2 others were injured, both women and senior citizens. These numbers, tragic as they are dwarfed by the scale of the assault. Cities that could have faced near-total blackouts managed to maintain a degree of normalcy. According to the Kyiv Post, around 5,635 buildings in Kyiv lost heating temporarily, representing roughly 46% of the housing stock, yet far fewer homes were left completely powerless thanks to Ukraine's resilient grid and emergency protocols. Every intercepted missile, every destroyed drone was not just a statistic, it was a life saved. Russia's repeated targeting of energy infrastructure has a clear psychological intent. As the UN Undersecretary General Rosemary DiCarlo pointed out, these attacks hit the most vulnerable hardest. But Ukraine's citizens have adapted. Valentina, a 67-year-old from Bielets Tserkva, explained her experience to TVP World. "We're not living in comfort, but we adapt. At least we're not hungry or filthy, and we actually sleep like babies." Stories like hers illustrate the steadfast determination of the Ukrainian people. Resourcefulness, courage, and ingenuity allow civilians to endure hardship while their military takes the fight to the skies. Russia's failures go beyond the immediate strike. The massive interception of 14 of 18 ballistic missiles and 13 of 15 cruise missiles is not just a tactical victory. It's a strategic humiliation. Moscow's forces may be experiencing stock shortages, as hinted by the odd use of a Zircon anti-ship missile in an otherwise land-focused strike. Analysts suggest that 80% of Russia's Iskander missiles may have already been used up, meaning future attacks could rely on newly manufactured weapons of uncertain reliability. Meanwhile, Ukraine continues to receive additional Patriot systems, NASAMS, and interceptor drones, slowly but surely building an air defense network that could cover the entire country in time. The tactical evolution doesn't stop with hardware. Ukraine has introduced interceptor drones and mobile fire groups, integrating them into a layered air defense strategy. Short-range systems now focus on swarms of drones, freeing long-range systems to target cruise and ballistic missiles. Electronic warfare disrupts guidance systems, creating confusion among attackers. The result? An increasingly lethal, highly efficient defensive web that neutralizes Russia's assaults before they can reach their intended targets. This multi-tiered approach marks a turning point in the war, showcasing Ukraine's ability not just to defend, but to shape the battlefield. The broader implications are clear. Russia's strategy of air supremacy is eroding. Mass drone swarms and missile strikes, once terrifyingly effective, are now being met with a sophisticated counter. Every intercepted projectile chips away at Moscow's plans, morale, and credibility. Each successful Ukrainian engagement sends a warning. The days of unchecked destruction are over. Putin's psychological campaigns face a harsh reality. Ukraine will survive, adapt, and fight back, no matter the cost. Yet this night also highlights the critical importance of continued Western support. The new Patriot systems, arriving just in time, made the difference between a catastrophic disaster and a controlled, effective defense. Zelensky has repeatedly emphasized the need for 25 total Patriots to provide comprehensive coverage. While 8 systems currently protect key cities, additional shipments will be vital to maintaining air superiority and protecting civilians throughout winter 2026. Every missile, every shipment, every strategic deployment matters. Ukraine's survival depends on it. In essence, the night of January 19th to 20th revealed a new dimension of Ukraine's military and civilian resilience. Russia launched one of the largest assaults in recent years, yet Ukraine's skies and citizens endured, defying expectations. The psychological impact on Russian planners cannot be understated. An intended demonstration of strength became a humiliation in the skies. And the Ukrainian people, through courage and ingenuity, continue to stand firm, proving that even under relentless pressure, a determined nation can turn the tide of war. This is more than just a story of missiles and drones. It's a story of strategic innovation, civilian endurance, and national resilience. The war in the skies has entered a new phase, one where Ukraine is not merely defending, but dictating the rules of engagement. The implications for the months ahead are profound. Russia may escalate, but with every failed strike, Ukraine strengthens its position, reshapes the battlefield, and demonstrates to the world that even the most massive assault can be stopped. And that brings us to the final section of this video, where we'll give you a clear call to action, show why it's critical to stay informed, and reveal how viewers can follow the ongoing battle in real time. Stay with us. The story isn't over, it's evolving. And there you have it, the night when Russia's massive assault on Ukraine was shattered in the skies. Hundreds of drones, cruise missiles, and ballistic missiles, all meant to cripple cities, destroy infrastructure, and terrorize civilians, neutralized by Ukraine's upgraded air defenses, interceptor drones, and the skill of its military. The numbers speak for themselves. 342 out of 373 projectiles destroyed, including 14 of 18 ballistic missiles, a staggering achievement that signals a new era in the conflict. If you want to stay ahead of the story, witness each shocking development as it happens, and understand the strategies that are changing the war, you need to subscribe to WAZI News now. Hit the bell icon so you never miss a single update. We cover all the major global conflicts, breaking military developments, and shocking stories that the mainstream media won't show you. Watch next our video on Ukraine's historic defense against Russia's hypersonic missiles to see how the new Patriot systems and interceptor drones turn the tables yet again. Comment below. What do you think Russia's next move will be? Will Ukraine continue its dominance in the skies? Or is there more to come? Your thoughts matter. Let's discuss. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, because on WAZI News, the world's most explosive stories come to you first, and we bring you truth, power, and the most shocking updates every single day.